Burberry, Burberry. That's what I hear from all my Chinese customers as soon as they come through the door. Let me tell you a little bit about Burberry. They were always a little bit in the shadow of Aquascutum, who made the first trench coat. Their trench coats were, and their raincoats were excellent. I think Burberry actually invented gabardine, which we now call raincoats gabardines, and we call them Macs, because Macintosh was a big maker now. But what I like to see is what I consider real Burberry, which is Burberrys with an S on the end of it. So this is the old label Burberrys, but when they suddenly got really successful in the fashion business, which would normally have been a joke when a conservative company just making raincoats like Burberry starts getting into the fashion business, it's normally a joke, but the stuff they did was really, really good. They hit the moment and really successful, and they got very rich very quickly. And very sensibly, they decided they wanted to control the marketing all over the world, so they bought back their agency in Japan, I think, and bought back their agency where they'd sold the name to somebody else, so they could control the whole thing. And they changed the name. They experimented a little bit with Thomas Burberry, but then they just went with Burberry, because that sounded more international and grown up. But I had a chap, I used to supply stuff to Burberry, because nobody thinks of keeping their old patterns while they're making them. They're just glad to sell everything they've got. And then 50 years later they say, wouldn't it be nice if we had some physical examples of the old patterns? So they used to buy a lot of old raincoats from me. And a chap used to come round, I think he was a retired director, he was doing their archive, and he told me a little secret. He said, the standard label like this, if you see, they sold in a lot of shops and they'd write the name of the shop on the label. On some of the older labels, this bottom bit here is not actually sewn in, and you can lift this bit up and look underneath. There's a little secret white label which has got the order number and the size on it. And yeah, little Burberry secret. But of course they went from Burberrys to being, well, their main shop in London, I think they had somewhere in the Haymarket, but their shop in Knightsbridge wasn't even called Burberrys. It was called Scotch House. So if you see this, a Scotch House label, what you've got is actually a Burberry raincoat. And I don't know if that was because of marketing, they could sell them at different prices, I don't know, but if you compare, you can see it's exactly the same kind of label as the blue label in this jacket, and even the side label, it's the same label, but obviously made by the same label maker, but in a different colour, with the same details on it. I love Burberry stuff, but I do like the old stuff. Now, with fashion companies, a lot of it is absolutely flimsy old rubbish, but a girl brought a skirt into me a couple of weeks ago, and she wanted another button put on it. She bought this in some sort of Black Friday sale. The new price for this skirt was £1,200, and she bought it for £600, which is still pretty expensive. But I was a little bit surprised, because I'm used to looking at flimsy old rubbish and at high prices. I looked at this skirt. The pattern match, it was a sort of tweed kilt. The pattern matching was superb, up to Lamborn standards, and the quality of the stitching, and I was really cynically trying to find something wrong with it, but it was a really super garment. So yeah, congratulations Burberry, you are still making some good kit. Now, incestuous old business, because this is a Highland jacket and it's got the Scotch House label, that's Burberry. But the waistcoat, you see the matching buttons, matching material, this is a part of a complete suit to wear with the kilt, but the waistcoat has got a Moss Bros label in it, so maybe this was sold, Scotch House manufacturers sold through Moss Bros or the other way around, but I've had Inverter products sold through Dax Simpson with these joint labels that they have, so pretty incestuous old business.